guys, so filming this a little bit later than my initial intro, I decided to upload this video on Halloween Day instead of my usual upload schedule, which is Saturday, because I figured, this is more fitting for Halloween, so might as well celebrate Halloween with the completion of the Sirdar Halloween crochet along. With that, I'm just gonna move on over to the rest of the video.
Hey guys, it's me, Rena from Sirdar Crochet, and today's video I'm going to be finishing up the Sirdar Halloween Crochet Along. Now, the last time we updated, I have most of the blanket done, and the only thing I'm missing are the details for the bat and cat, and these face details for all the granny squares, weaving in my ends, as well as the cobweb border. So I know a lot of folks who have done this blanket, they actually opted out of doing the cobweb border because if they have pets or kids, fingers and claws get stuck in that. So not everyone did the cobweb border. However, for the sake of completing this blanket, completing this video, I'm going to do the cobweb border. I also don't have pets or kids, so that helps. So for the cobweb border, the original pattern has you make all of the cobweb motifs and then sew it on individually. However, I don't want to do that. So actually, someone on the Facebook group posted in the group about how they approached a cobweb border, and I think I'm going to follow that method. I think it has you counting every however many stitches. So I've started putting stitch markers on the border. I'm gonna finish doing that and get my phone back because I'm using my phone to film, and I think with my privacy controls, I can only log into Facebook on my phone. So I am gonna do that first and I'll get started. Okay, I have made one cobweb so far. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little conflicted how I feel about it. I also see why people don't want to do it. Also, I'm not gonna lie, picos are a little odd. When I was, following the instructions on Facebook, they had a step of how to do the picot stitches, and I'm like, that doesn't look right, because that's not the normal picot stitch. And then I looked at the pattern, and no, that was the exact picot that the creator had. So I don't know. I'm just gonna continue doing this until I finish the border, and I will get back to you. I'm going to show you how to do the cobweb border directly on the blanket because I can, I guess. For reference, I did not come up with this. This was what I found on the Facebook group of the Sirdar Crochet Along. It's pretty great. I will give full credit to the woman who posted that, guide, but I'm going to show this in video form just because I can. So the first thing you're going to do in that post, she says to count 30, I just count 15. So from the last stitch that you crocheted, you're going to count 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You're going to put a stitch marker there. Okay. Now, you're going to take your yarn, make a loop, and you are going to count 4 stitches away from that 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where you attach your yarn. So I'm going to attach my yarn right here. And then the first step you do is chain 2. 1, 2. And then you are going to make 1 treble crochet, US treble crochet, into the stitch marker, into the stitch where the stitch marker is. So I'm going to switch to my clover. You're going to chain 1, and now you're going to repeat the treble, chain 1 4 more times. So you will have a total of 5 treble crochets. I like to remove the stitch marker at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have, so now you have 5 treble crochets in the same stitch. So and you will have a chain 1 right here. So from that stitch, you are going to count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to slip stitch into that 4th chain. Now you're going to slip stitch 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to chain 3 from here. 1, 2, 3. Turn your work, and then you are going to treble crochet into the treble crochet stitches right here. So, and then chain 3. And then repeat that until the last treble crochet. Okay, you are now in the last treble crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now find that stitch where you join the yarn, count 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into that space. And then you're going to slip stitch 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now from here, chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Flip your work. And now you're going to treble crochet into this treble crochet. Now, in between each of these other treble crochets, chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now you are at your last treble crochet. Chain 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9. Now you see these stitches down here? Count 3. 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch into this space. And then slip stitch 2 more times. 1, 2. Now you're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Turn your work. Okay, treble crochet into that stitch right there. Now, here's where things get a little crazy. You're going to do that chain 5 picot, which is where you chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you are going to insert your hook into these 2 loops right here. and then slip stitch. And that's your little cobweb picot right here. Then chain 5. 4, 5, and then repeat that until you get to the end. Okay, you have completed your last picot treble, so you're going to chain 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, then down here, this is, so from this space that you joined your yarn last time, you're going to count 2. 1, 2, slip stitch into here. And now cut your yarn and fasten off. And that's how you do the cobweb border directly onto the blanket without having to sew. Okay, so here's the thing. Don't mind the hat. I woke up with a bad hair day. I'm not done with the border, but I would say I'm about halfway through. So far it's okay, but I'm realizing that time is passing by really quickly, and I'm pretty busy this month. My goal for this blanket is that I want to get it done before Halloween. I think that's fair because, you know, it is a Halloween blanket. It should be done by Halloween. However, I have a business trip this upcoming week, and then I'm free another week, and then I'm going to be traveling again, actually on Halloween day. So that doesn't leave me a lot of time to complete this blanket. Like, obviously it leaves me some time to complete it. I'm at the final stretch, you know, like it's not bad, right? I literally just have to finish the border and finish the motifs. Honestly, in my opinion, I think the motifs are the ones that are going to take me the longest because I don't like having to sew them on. That's why I didn't do it originally. I have like what, maybe 1 or 2 of like the eyes for the skull sewed on right now. Yeah, I just haven't done that. I just haven't gotten around to it. I can't explain why. I just kind of don't want to. I don't want to sew. Like, that's kind of the issue. I just don't want to sew. So in my opinion, I think that's the part that's going to take me the most amount of time to do, is to sew in those motifs and make them, and also obviously weave in these ends. My goal to finish this by Halloween is at least realistic. Ideally, I'd like to finish it the week before Halloween, so that way this video can come out, because today's Saturday and I have a video out today, and then I have a video planned for next week, and I want the video for the week after to be this video where I complete the blanket. I believe, if my timeline's right, is the weekend before Halloween. That's the goal I'm gonna do. But first I'm gonna go to the gym, and then once I get back and shower and eat food, then I will continue working on the border, and I'll just keep working on this blanket because I really do want to get this done. Also, I had a couple of folks ask me in the comments of my previous videos if I was doing the Christmas crochet along. The answer is no, I'm not. It doesn't appeal to me, mainly because I looked at it and I'm like, that's a lot of tapestry. I'm not in the tapestry mood right now. But it seems that a lot of people seem to be complaining about this year's Christmas crochet along, saying it looks too childish, and some people were even saying the same about this, and I'm like, does it matter if it's childish looking? I feel like people are wanting like a maximalist but classy look to these blanket designs, because a lot of folks are like, oh, last year's gingerbread crochet along was peak. I feel like that gingerbread crochet along, just design wise, falls into the maximalist but classy aesthetic. But I don't know, for me, I don't necessarily think it's wrong for something to look childish. It's okay if you just don't like it. That's fine, but it seems like a decent amount of folks just don't like the design. Okay, little update on the blanket. I finished the cobweb border. I have not woven in any of my ends yet. Well, okay. Yeah, not for the cobweb border. But I have been slowly but surely adding on, making and adding on the little like eyes of the skull. This is why I don't like sewing. I'm really, really, really bad at it, okay? I finished one bat thing, and I think these wings are supposed to be floppy. And I also finished one cat thing. The tail's supposed to be floppy. I have the other cat applique done. It's not sewn on yet. I don't think there's like a good way for me to sew on these eyes other than just to suffer and accept the fact that the back is gonna be whack. This is what it looks like. And I haven't even started on like adding the faces yet either. So yeah, I just know the back of this is gonna be so whack. I have started weaving in a couple of the ends. I don't have all of the ends weaved in, but I started working on a couple of them here and there. Like, it's not like amazing. I think because on the tapestry piece, because I crocheted it so tightly and I had to block it, the ends on these are a little harder for me to weave in, so I probably have to get a smaller needle to weave these in. But yeah, I've just been slowly but surely working on some of the ends. Like, you know, I weaved in this one and a couple others here and there. It's kind of my fault for saving that for last, but you know, whatever. I'm gonna say this is my least favorite part of the blanket because it's like so close but so far away, because I basically finished all of it. I just haven't done the finer details, and it's the finer details that I skipped doing. Theoretically, the appliques, like the eyes and the faces and like the cat, were supposed to be done in week 3. I just didn't do it because I didn't want to, and now it's catching up with me and biting me in the butt. But I will still work on it. It's Sunday evening right now. I leave for my work trip on Tuesday afternoon. So I might work on it a little bit Monday evening, but I don't think I'll be able to like truly finish this until I get back from my work trip. I think I'll still be in time for when I want to upload this video, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, that's my update. Hello folks, I have an update. One, I actually got back from my work trip a day early, which is fantastic. I haven't gotten a lot done, but I have been slowly but surely weaving in the ends of this stupid blanket. It's kind of intermittent here and there. I found a smaller needle for the back here, so some of this is woven in. What's kind of nice about the back of my tapestry is that I did it in tarsia instead of regular tapestry with the floats, and so the front and back look very beautiful. We love it. We stan. I have not gotten much leeway on these faces, and frankly, I kind of hate weaving in the ends for all of the little pieces right here. It's driving me nuts, and I am highly, highly, highly considering just buying like a fabric paint or like fabric markers and just drawing the details onto these faces. However, I was doing some research on how well do fabric markers work on acrylic yarn, and apparently it doesn't work so great. So I don't know if I want to spend my money or just suck it up and do the stupid sewing. I kind of have the opposite reaction, where I know a lot of beginner crocheters, they'll just cross stitch the tapestry instead of doing the crochet's tapestry. I can't sew. So like, sewing is actually the worst part about everything. It's one of the many reasons I don't do amigurumi, because I don't like sewing. And there is a lot of sewing on this thing. I will cave and make the eyes for this little pumpkin thingy, because that's kind of all I have left to crochet. But again, highly, highly, highly considering either buying some felt. I have fabric glue, so maybe buying some felt and, you know, cutting out shapes of the mouths, or fabric paint, especially for these eye details, because I mean, I have a little bit here, but I don't want to do this. I hate sewing. I don't think you understand. I hate sewing. So this is kind of a struggle for me. Weaving in ends is like the extent of sewing I do. I did sew on the other cat panel. It's a little bit high, but I'm not changing that now. I still have to make the other bat wing pattern, sew that on, but that one's floppier, so it's fine. Maybe I will buy the fabric markers and see if that works. If it works, I'll do that, especially for the eye details, because I can't with these ends right here. But if it doesn't work, I will cave, but I think I will end up buying the fabric markers after all.
Hey guys, so little update on the Sirdar Halloween blanket. I did not finish it on the day that I wanted to, but I think I have an extra week, so that's why you will be seeing this video on Halloween and not before Halloween. So, oops.
I don't think you'll understand how excited I am to have finally finished this blanket. It's been a lot because I had to travel and I was dragging my feet on all the embroidery. I am very, very, very proud of myself for not giving up on the sewing portion. Originally, I said that I was like gonna give up on doing the sewing details and just buy fabric paint. I'm very proud of myself that I didn't, because I do think that would have been ugly. But as you can see, my sewing is not very good, especially with this guy. Like, I misplaced the eyes and it just looks kind of doofy. Genuine question for those who do embroidery on yarn, like, what do you do at the ends? Because, okay, what I ended up doing in the end is just tying a knot, like 5 million knots, and just doing that, and I'm hoping it'll stay, but I get really paranoid about yarn ends just unraveling, just because I don't know what to do. On the skulls, I like left long tails and woven the ends on the black, but for the pumpkins, I just tied a knot. I will say the back looks a lot better because I kind of just crocheted in all my ends instead of having floats, but it still looks a little doofy with the embroidery. I know this is why people like to put backings on their blankets, because you can hide them better, which I'm not doing because I can't sew. Also, the fabric options are kind of limited because Joann's is out of business and Michael's fabric selection is trash. Look, I don't even have to sew to know that the selection is trash. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm actually really happy that I got this done before Halloween, so that's super exciting. I finished it just in time, and now I can divert all of my energy to prepping for a craft fair I have coming up. So, which is good, very good. Now I want to share my final thoughts about the Sirdar crochet along experience. So the kit itself, it's kind of pricey. Also, it comes from the UK because Sirdar is a UK company. Makes sense, right? Obviously, folks from all over the world participate in it, but my understanding of how it works is that you can either order it online directly from them, or your local yarn shop has these kits you can buy in person. It's select local yarn shops that will have them, so for me, as I live in the United States, I probably would only be able to buy this thing online, which I don't have a problem with. I do think future crochet alongs will be affected by the tariffs, so that situation going on, I haven't kept up with it. I just know that I do think at this point they're in place, and I know that anything coming from overseas into the United States will have tariffs applied to them, which is why I haven't bought from Hobie in a while. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. So like I would say in terms of getting the kit, it's like standard online yarn shopping. Except now there's tariffs to factor in, which is not the fault of the yarn companies. That's the fault of the dumb political climate. Now, in terms of the crochet along itself and the pattern, the crochet along itself presents itself as beginner friendly, and I do think to some extent it is beginner friendly. I have not tried the other blankets, but the techniques they have, I can see it being beginner friendly. The only thing I don't find beginner friendly actually is this center tapestry. This is nothing towards the original pattern creator. I probably would criticize more the company rather than the creator, because even if they recruit creators to do this, it is still being edited and vetted by like professionals on their team. And I think this tapestry is a bit ambitious for a beginner. I do tapestry crochet, and I think something of this size is a lot for beginners. Everything else about the pattern I think is actually fairly beginner friendly. The only thing I don't think is beginner friendly is that tapestry graph. And also with the tapestry graph, when week 4 was first announced, they had forgotten that left-handed crocheters exist. And they have rectified it, but they didn't rectify it in a very public way. They just kind of subtly rectified it and put an apology on their like Facebook group, but like they didn't make an announcement on their official channels, either through the pattern download email thing or like an official announcement on the Instagram. They just posted in the Facebook group, hey, we fixed it, download it here. Probably would be seen by older folks because, or anyone on Facebook, but for folks who don't go on Facebook, like the younger generation, they would have completely missed it. The fact that like they made this mistake and then rectified it but didn't actually announce said like fix on their other channels, I think was not great in my opinion. But everything else I'd say is fairly beginner friendly. I had a couple of comments on my previous Sirdar crochet along videos where regular commenters say that, you know, they're not really interested in the crochet along because like they don't necessarily like not knowing the pattern up front, which I think is a very fair criticism. I think that one's a bit dependent on like what you're looking for. Like, you know, obviously other crochet alongs done by other companies or even other creators they'll just give you the pattern and then you just do whatever. This one is interesting because it's released every week, which I think it's an okay cadence because it accounts for folks who are working full-time, but also for folks who have a lot of free time. So I think that's fine. I also think some folks might feel rushed by the whole weekly updates, but I don't necessarily think that will stop them from doing this thing either. Obviously, I tried to keep up with the weekly pattern releases and I just couldn't do it at the end. I had some work travel to do and I couldn't work on this as the pattern came out. So it was a little rough on that end. I tried at first, but it was too much, especially with the tapestry. Ain't no one finishing this in 1 week, I'm gonna tell you that right now. Another thing I want to kind of discuss is the yarn they provide. Again, I ordered these kits online. This is the yarn I have. I think other local yarn stores might have their own form of yarn. I don't really know the deal with local yarn stores, but this is what came in my kit, and which is a, you know, DK acrylic. I have some issues with this yarn. This is not my favorite acrylic. It is still soft, but this is not my favorite acrylic because select colors that I got in my kit, specifically white and gray, they squeaked so much. It was bothering me. It was so annoying. I was not a fan of the squeaking. Like, regardless, they did give you enough of the yarn to do whatever. Now I want to talk about my favorite part of the crochet along actually, and that is the community. The community behind these crochet alongs make everything really fun, in my opinion, especially the Facebook group. I actually think the Facebook group for these crochet alongs is probably the highlight of these crochet alongs. The issue is that you have to go on Facebook, but I'm on Facebook anyway. What's nice about these crochet alongs is that, especially the Facebook page, one, you'll probably get the most up-to-date information on these things through the Facebook page because there's a whole community behind it. And I think even Sirdar knows that too. Hence why they probably informed the Facebook page of the updated left-handed charts and not like their official channels. I digress. But also, you know, there are some folks on there being like, oh, I started out, I've never done this before, like, where do I find these? Like, how do I do this? And everyone in that community is very willing to help each other out with all of the patterns and the nuances and like, oh, what did I do wrong? They're like, oh yeah, you might have missed a stitch on here. And it's stuff like that that makes it really nice. Additionally, some folks in that Facebook page are very creative and they're very like helpful. And for example, some folks don't really like the cat and bat appliques on the Halloween blanket. So one person made a witch's hat with some of the leftover yarn, which I thought was interesting. Some folks switched up the colors in the blankets to kind of make it their own, which I thought was really cool. But there's also a lot of folks in there that give tips and tricks to do like parts of the blanket, not exactly following the pattern. For example, I mean, in my case, two ways I did not follow the pattern. One way was this cat border right here. I just crocheted directly on the squares and just did it my own way. I didn't make it separate and then sew it on because I didn't want to sew. That's one way I did it, and I'm sure other folks on that Facebook page did similar ways. And also, the cobweb border was done directly on the blanket. I did not come up with this. I saw a couple of posts on the Facebook group saying, hey, here's an alternative for those who want to do the border. This is how I did it, and it helps so much. And that's what's so great about that Facebook group, because you have so many folks at different stages of crochet in their journey, both asking for help and giving advice and just posting inspiration pics of how to maybe change things up a little bit. Or again, I think some folks got the idea to cross-stitch the tapestry piece from the Facebook group. So I think the best thing about this entire thing was just the community behind it. And that's kind of what's great about crochet, in my opinion, is just a community behind everything. Now, the question I'm sure some of y'all might be asking me is, will I do this type of thing again? And the answer is yes. However, I am not doing this year's Christmas one, and I will probably limit myself to only doing one of these per year because it's kind of a lot. And if I sign up for all the crochet alongs, I would only be doing crochet alongs and nothing else. And I like doing my other stuff. So with that, that is my video. I'm really glad to finish this video before Halloween. And also, I'm just really glad I did the crochet along. Have you done the crochet along? Do you plan on doing a future one? And are you even doing the Christmas one? Let me know down in the comments, and hope to see you soon. Bye!